Greetings, Timeless Sagas fans. Today, we embark on a journey into the fascinating world of ancient Greece, a cradle of Western civilization, and a land of epic tales, democracy, and mind-boggling philosophy. So, strap in, because we're going on an odyssey through time, exploring the incredible stories of the people who shaped our world in ways that still echo today. Let's start at the very beginning, in the Bronze Age, around 3000 BCE. Greece wasn't a united country back then, but rather a collection of city-states, like Athens, Sparta, and Corinth. These city-states were fiercely independent, often battling each other for dominance, but they also shared a common language, religion, and culture. Now, imagine a world where every city had its own rules and identity. Talk about a neighborhood rivalry. At this time, Greece was home to the Minoans, who lived on the island of Crete, and the Mycenaeans on the mainland. The Minoans were known for their jaw-dropping palaces and intricate artwork, while the Mycenaeans were all about that military might. But around 1200 BCE, both of these civilizations mysteriously collapsed. Some say it was due to natural disasters, while others favor the theory of internal conflict or even invasion from foreign forces. But like any good mystery, we may never know the truth. Now, let's fast forward to the Archaic period, which lasted from 800 BCE to 480 BCE. This was a time of rebirth, as the Greeks emerged from their post-Bronze Age slump and began to rebuild their cities and trade networks. This era saw the rise of the famous Greek city-states we all know and love, like Athens and Sparta. Importantly, this period also saw the birth of the concept we cherish today, democracy. That's right, it was the Athenians who said, "Hey, why should kings and nobles have all the fun? Let's let the people have a say." And thus, the first democracy was born in Athens, where citizens would gather and vote on important issues. Ah, the sweet smell of freedom and the birth of we the people. But of course, we can't talk about ancient Greece without mentioning the legendary Spartans. These guys took the whole tough love concept to another level. In Sparta, everything revolved around the art of war. At the age of 7, boys were taken from their families and sent to military school, where they were trained to become the ultimate soldiers. No video games or YouTube for these kids. Instead, they had a strict diet of discipline, combat, and survival skills. Now, let's leap into the classical period, from 480 BCE to 323 BCE. This was the golden age of Greece when art, philosophy, and literature flourished. It was also a time of great conflict, as the Greek city-states struggled for dominance. The Persian Wars, from 499 BCE to 449 BCE, saw the union of Greek city-states against the mighty Persian Empire, led by King Darius and later his son Xerxes. Despite being heavily outnumbered, the Greeks managed to pull off some impressive wins, including the famous Battle of Marathon in 490 BCE, where, according to legend, a messenger named Phidippides ran nonstop for 26.2 miles to deliver the news of victory to Athens. And that, my friends, is the origin of the marathon race. The end of the Persian Wars marked the beginning of the Peloponnesian War, a bitter conflict between Athens and Sparta that lasted from 431 BCE to 404 BCE. It was like the ultimate showdown between two high school rivals, the jocks versus the nerds. Ultimately, Sparta emerged victorious, but the conflict left Greece weakened and vulnerable to outside threats. Amidst all this warfare, Greece was also a hotbed of intellectual thought and artistic expression. Enter the philosophical dream team, Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle. These three great thinkers shaped the course of Western philosophy, tackling big questions about the nature of reality, morality, and knowledge. Socrates was famous for his Socratic method of questioning, which involved asking probing questions to stimulate critical thinking. Unfortunately, not everyone was a fan of his relentless inquiries, and he was sentenced to death by drinking a cup of poisoned hemlock in 399 BCE. Plato, Socrates' student, founded the Academy in Athens, where he taught the third member of this philosophical trio, Aristotle. Plato's most famous work, The Republic, explores the idea of a perfect society ruled by philosopher kings. Meanwhile, Aristotle, who later became a tutor to a certain young man named Alexander the Great, focused on empirical observation and classified knowledge into various disciplines, such as physics, biology, and ethics. Speaking of Alexander the Great, he's the headliner for our next era, the Hellenistic period, which lasted from 323 BCE to 146 BCE. Alexander was the king of Macedonia and one of the greatest military minds in history. In just a decade, he managed to conquer most of the known world, from Greece to Egypt, and all the way to India. His empire was so massive that it stretched over 3 continents. Talk about an overachiever. But like all great conquerors, Alexander's reign was short-lived. He died at the young age of 32 in 323 BCE, and his vast empire was divided among his generals. This marked the beginning of the Hellenistic period, during which Greek culture, art, and ideas spread far and wide. Huge libraries, like the famous Library of Alexandria, were built to house the accumulated knowledge of the ancient world, and cities like Antioch and Pergamon became centers of learning and culture. The Hellenistic period also saw the rise of new philosophical schools, such as the Stoics, who believed in living virtuously and in harmony with nature, and the Epicureans, who sought happiness through the pursuit of pleasure and the avoidance of pain. These philosophies still resonate with us today, as we grapple with the question of how to live a good life in a complex world. Sadly, all good things must come to an end. In 146 BCE, Greece fell to the expanding Roman Empire. The Romans admired Greek culture and incorporated many Greek ideas and practices into their own society, ensuring that the legacy of ancient Greece would endure for centuries to come. And there you have it, folks, a whirlwind tour through the history of ancient Greece, from the Bronze Age to the Roman conquest. These remarkable people left a lasting mark on the world, shaping our language, politics, art, and philosophy. The tales of ancient Greece remind us that the human story is one of resilience, creativity, and the constant search for meaning. So, until our next adventure through time, stay curious, and keep exploring the timeless sagas of our shared past.